Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk a bit on Purdah 1 by Imtiaz Dharker. So in this video we are going to cover three different topics related to Purdah 1. The first one is short biography of Imtiaz Dharker, second key facts of the poem, and at the third we have a translation of the poem in English. So let's get started. About author. Imtiaz Dharker was born in Lahore, Punjab, Pakistan. She grew up in Glasgow where her family moved when she was less than 1 year. She was married to Simon Powell, the founder of the organization Poetry Life, who died in October 2009 after surviving 11 years with cancer with Poetry Life. She reads to 25,000 students a year traveling across the country with poets including Carl Ann Defoe, Simon Ernst Age, John Agar, Kellyan Clark, Diljit Nagra, Grace Nicholas, Owen Shears, and Jackie Kay, and Maura Dolle. Dharker divides her time between London, Wales, and Mumbai. She says she describes herself as a Scottish Muslim Calvinist. Adopted by India and married into Wales, her daughter Aisha Dharker, whose father name is Anil Dharker, and Anil Dharker is an Indian. So Aisha Dharker is an actress, international films maker, and television, and she also appears on the stage. In a British means Imtiaz Dharker, she is a British poet, artist, and video filmmaker. She has won the Queen's Gold Medal for her English poetry and was appointed Chancellor of Newcastle University in January 2020. In 2019, she was considered for the position of Poet Laureate, following the tenure of Carl Ann Defoe, but withdraw herself from continuation in order, as she stated, to maintain focus on her writing. I had to weigh the privacy. I need to write poems against the demands of a public role. The poem's own, said Dharker. For many, Dharker is seen as one of the Britain's most inspirational contemporary poets. She was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature in 2011. In the same year, she received the Comrade Award from the Society of Authors. In 2016, she received an honorary doctorate from SOS University of London. So key facts. Purdah 1 was written in 1989 and it was written in free verse. Not too much figures of speech, but simile and metaphor are used highly. The poem Purdah 1 appeared in Dharker's first collection of poetry. The term Purdah or Purdah is a Persian word that means curtain, and this was used to conceal women from men. According to Wikipedia, the definition of Purdah is a curtain which makes a sharp separation between the world of men and that of a woman, between the community as a whole and the family, which is its herd, between the street and the home, the public and the private, just as it sharply separates society and the individual. The Purdah represents two significant requests, like physical segregation of the sexes, the requirement for women to cover their bodies and conceal their form. Purdah 1 provides an interesting perspective on the idea of people in general and how they relate to a woman specifically. Purdah 1 offers deeply felt evocations of the experience of growing up as a woman in an Islamic society. So now let's move to its translation, like stanza 1 and stanza 2. One day, they said, she was old enough to learn some shape. She found it came quite naturally. Purdah is a kind of safety. The body finds a place to hide. The cloth fans out against the skin, much like the earth that falls on coffins after they put the dead man in. So in these lines, stanza 1 and stanza 2, it tells that in these lines the poetess says that when the world starts seeing a girl as an object, means when she becomes mature, so the world sees that girl as an object, she ought to respond by taking recourse to Purdah. The Purdah also stands as a metaphor for the way women seek refuge and retreat into shells to be safe from harm and disapproval. The Purdah also stands as an alienation from one's own self, where a girl is forced to do what is expected of her rather than what she feels. Social pressure and stress make one lose a sense of being true to oneself. Women from a very early age are taught about their gender and the shame associated with it, and darker views relate to these early teachings. In the beginning, the girl who uses the purdah considers it as something distinct or separate from her, but slowly she becomes accustomed to it, and it comes to be associated with her perception of herself and the outside world. Purdah is a windows shattered upon a private world, and like a travel, she moves between cultures, exploring the dilemmas of negotiation among countries, lovers, and at the last, children. So stanza 3, what stanza 3 tells? People she has known stand up, sit down as they have always done, but they make different angles. In the light, their eyes aslant a little slay. So stanza 3 tells about that not only do they themselves make different angles, but also make the young girls wear burqa, and burqa means like parda, and thus build a cocoon around them. Imtiaz Dharker calls this seclusion as a kind of interior colonization. So Imtiaz Dharker calls this seclusion as a kind of interior colonization, which reduces the woman to a walking corpse. A parda nashin is decamated to a clod of earth, a dying tree whose roots desperately struggle to balance and withstand. This miserable flight of women has aptly been highlighted in the lines. Now stanza 4 and stanza 5, what stanza 4 and stanza 5 tells about Purdah? She half remembers things from someone else's life, perhaps from yours or mine, carefully carrying what we do not own. Between the thighs of a sense of sin, we sit still, letting the cloth grow a little closer to our skin, a little filters inward through our body's walls. Voices speak inside us, echoing in the places we have just left. And stanza 6, she stands outside herself, sometimes in all four corners of a room. Wherever she goes, she is always itching past herself as if she were a clod of earth, and the roots as well, stretching for a hold between the first and second rib. So stanza 4, 5 and 6, it tells about the discrimination against women and their alienation from many human activities around them in highlighted in the poem, like the prayer. Standing outside the mosque, the female protagonist wishes to appeal to the Almighty for mental comfort, but to her utter horror finds the religion offers no solace as she is not allowed to enter the mosque. She wistfully looks at the worshippers throng inside, hopefully praying, and feels as if God has also yielded to man's dictate. And man's writ always large in the house of God, who himself is a male in a polycentric world. The protagonist puts ahead questions out of sheer curiosity, and the girl is capable of distancing her personality from her physical state. Realization dawns, and she begins to see how completely dependent she is on the patriarchal structures. Patriarchal means like male-dominant society that governs social norms and conventions. The purdah means the veil also prevents her from exercising her freedom as an individual. Figuratively, The space of the woman is limited to her own world. The Purdah restricts her vision of the world as well as her experience of life. Central to the poem is the issue of like gaze, which is approached both from viewpoint of the girl and from the position of those who objectively and statue her. The purdah or the veil serves as a safety from praying eyes, and the fact that the culture burden demands a niched reading of the complex circumstances in which she is located. Therefore, she is eternally engaged in the process of self-examination, trying to figure out her own situation and the world around her. So at the last stanza, that is stanza 7, passing constantly out of her own hands into the corner of someone else's eyes, while the doors keep opening inward and again inward. So stanza 7 tells about that. Imtiaz Dharker tells that the women who do like purdah, so she becomes the habitual of it, and what happens next then, this is the deep-rooted wear in the like the psyche of women, and the Imtiaz Dharker also tells that, and the woman who do purdah, she is not independent. Who says Imtiaz Dharker? But it is not actually the same. The woman who do purdah, she is also independent, and the woman who does not do purdah, she is also independent. She also gets the same right with the women who do purdah she gets, and the other women also gets the same right who does not do purdah. So it is not the same like the woman who is doing purdah, so she is not getting rights. No, it's totally wrong. And Imtiaz Dharker tells further that the woman is limited to her room, means she can't move outside. There are many restrictions on her, and that is why so she has to suppress herself. She has to suppress her dreams. She can't even her visions. So it means she has to put herself in the room and the corner of the room, and she can't do nothing. So this was all about today's Purdah 1. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If this video has sparked your interest, I suggest you to like, share, comment. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.